Have you ever looked in the mirror and thought, why do I look more tired than I actually feel? It's a moment we all have at some point, especially as we grow older. You feel vibrant, full of life, still curious about the world, and yet, your reflection doesn't quite match that inner energy. And let me tell you, that disconnect? It's not in your face. It's not even in your age. More often than not, it's in your hair. Yes, your hair, because while we change, while we evolve into wiser, more grounded versions of ourselves, sometimes our hairstyle doesn't come along for the ride. And when that happens, it doesn't just add years, it hides your light. It sends the wrong message, not to the world, but to you. In today's video, we're not chasing youth. We're uncovering truth. I'm going to walk you through 5 of the most common hair choices that might be unintentionally aging you. And more importantly, how to make gentle shifts that bring your outer appearance back into harmony with how you truly feel inside. Because you're not fading, you're just not being seen clearly. Let's fix that. 1. Dry, dull, lifeless hair. The silent saboteur. Let's start with something most people overlook. And yet, it's one of the biggest reasons you might be feeling off about your look. It's not your cut, it's not your color. It's your hair's texture, the way it feels, the way it moves, and most importantly, the way it reflects light. Or doesn't. Here's the truth. Dry, dull hair is like background noise. You don't always notice it until someone turns it off, and suddenly everything feels clear and vibrant again. When your hair loses its shine, it quietly drags your whole look down. It absorbs light instead of reflecting it, creates shadows around your face, and makes your skin look more tired than it actually is. And what's even more frustrating? You can have the most flattering haircut in the world, but if your hair looks rough and lifeless, it cancels out all that effort. Now let's talk about why this happens, because it's not your fault. As we age, our hair naturally changes. Hormones shift, oil production slows, the cuticle layer thins out, and the pigment fades. All of that leads to a texture that's coarser, more brittle, and far less shiny than what we're used to. And when you add years of heat styling, color treatments, and maybe a few too many cheap shampoos into the mix, that natural wear and tear starts to show. But here's the good news. This isn't permanent. Dull hair can be revived. Lifeless texture can bounce back. The first step? Moisture. Hydration is everything. Think of your hair like your skin. It needs to be nourished, protected, and treated with care. A hydrating, sulfate-free shampoo is a great place to start, but don't stop there. Deep conditioners, leave-in treatments, and even lightweight hair oils can help rebuild softness and shine. Look for ingredients like argan oil, keratin, biotin, or collagen. Those are game changers for mature hair. Another key move, regular trims. I know. If you're growing your hair out, the last thing you want to hear is, cut it. But trust me, those dry, split ends are doing you no favors. They frizz, they tangle, and they soak up light in all the wrong ways. Even just a half-inch trim can make your hair look instantly healthier and fuller. And finally, be gentle. Swap the terry towel for a microfiber one. Use a heat protectant before blow-drying or curling. Sleep on a satin pillowcase. These aren't just beauty tips. They're small acts of self-respect. Because how you treat your hair sends a message to the world. And when your hair is soft, shiny, and full of movement, it tells a story of vitality, not age, of care, not effort, of someone who still shows up for herself. So run your fingers through your hair right now. Does it feel dry? Does it move? Or does it just sit there? If the answer doesn't feel right, don't worry. You're not alone, and you're not stuck. This isn't about starting over. It's about starting fresh, one strand at a time. 2. Overly dark hair. The enemy of radiant skin. Let's talk about something a little unexpected. Something that might be aging your face faster than time itself. It's not your wrinkles, it's not your makeup, it's your hair color, specifically when your hair is too dark. Now, don't get me wrong, dark hair can be stunning, it's elegant, it's dramatic, and for many of us, it's the color we've trusted for decades. But here's the thing. What looked amazing at 40 doesn't always have the same magic at 60 or 70. And the reason has nothing to do with age, and everything to do with contrast. As we get older, our skin naturally changes. It loses some of that youthful flush, the elasticity softens, and our undertones start to shift. Complexions become lighter, more delicate, and sometimes a little uneven. And when you frame that softer skin with a harsh, one-dimensional dark color, like jet black or deep espresso brown, it can create a contrast that's too stark, too sharp. Instead of enhancing your features, it washes them out. It emphasizes shadows under the eyes. It deepens every fine line. It can even make your skin look cooler, duller, or just tired. And the wild part? You might not even notice it, because you're used to it. That same hair color that once made your eyes pop might now be pulling all the light away from your face. I've had clients and viewers say, I thought it was just me, that maybe I wasn't sleeping enough. Then they lightened their hair just a touch. And people started saying, you look so refreshed. Did you take a vacation? That's the power of the right color. It doesn't scream, look at me. It whispers, I feel good. And people notice. Now, I'm not saying you have to go blonde, not at all. This is not about becoming someone else. It's about working with the woman you are now. That might mean softening your shade by just 1 or 2 levels. Maybe adding warmth, a rich caramel, a warm chestnut, even a golden highlight near the face. These tones catch the light. They lift the skin. They reflect a glow that says, I'm awake, I'm alive, I'm still here. And here's a tip most people overlook. Dimension. Flat color, especially when it's dark, can make your hair look like a helmet. No movement, no life. But when you add subtle highlights or lowlights, even just a little around the crown or framing your face, you instantly add depth. That depth creates light play. It gives your hair texture, bounce, and personality, even if you're not wearing a single drop of makeup. And let's talk about gray for a moment, because I know it's a sensitive topic. Some women are ready to embrace their grays. Others aren't. Both choices are completely valid. But here's the key. Don't fight the gray. Blend with it. When your hair color harmonizes with your natural gray, it looks intentional. Not like you're hiding something, but like you're embracing everything. A soft ash brown with silver highlights, or a silvery beige with warm undertones, can look absolutely stunning and far more modern than clinging to deep, heavy dye jobs. The bottom line is this: your hair color should complement your skin, not compete with it. It should bring light to your face, not cast a shadow. Because you've got enough wisdom, stories, and strength to carry you forward. You don't need your hair dragging you back. So here's your moment to pause. Is your current color still serving you? Or are you holding on to it out of habit? Sometimes, the most powerful change doesn't require cutting an inch, just a shift in shade. And suddenly, you see yourself in a new light. One that's softer, brighter, more you. 3. Heavy, one-length hair. When your style becomes a curtain, not a frame. Now, let's move to the other end of the spectrum. Maybe you're not dealing with dry texture or a color that's too dark. Maybe your hair feels like it's doing just fine, until you realize something odd. You've stopped wearing it down. You keep tucking it behind your ears. You're tying it up more often than not. And when it's down, it just kind of hangs there. Sound familiar? That's the hidden trap of long, heavy, one-length hair. And while it might feel safe and familiar, like an old friend you've had for decades, it might actually be dragging down more than just your strands. Here's the issue. When your hair is long and all one length, especially without layers or shape, it tends to fall straight down the sides of your face. That creates a kind of visual curtain. And instead of framing your features, it conceals them. Your cheekbones, your jawline, even the expression in your eyes. Everything gets hidden behind that heavy wall of hair. And with that, your natural energy, that sparkle in your personality, gets muted too. I've worked with women who told me they clung to long hair because it felt like part of their identity. Something they weren't ready to let go of. And you know what? That's completely valid. You don't have to give up your length to reclaim your look. You just have to lighten the load. And that's where layers come in. Strategic layering is a game changer, especially after 60. Layers bring back movement. They create flow, softness, and bounce without sacrificing length. Suddenly, instead of hair hanging down like a blanket, you have a style that moves with you. That catches light when you walk. That lifts your face rather than pulling it downward. And the best part? You don't need to go dramatic. Even soft, face-framing pieces can open up your expression and add dimension. Light layering at the jawline can create the illusion of a more defined face. Layers near the crown can add height and volume, making your whole style look lighter and more intentional. And if you've got thinning hair, here's something interesting. Layers can actually make your hair look fuller. Why? Because blunt ends tend to clump and separate, exposing thin areas. But layered hair gives the illusion of density and natural volume. It looks styled, even when it's not. I also want to talk about movement. Hair that moves freely reflects vitality. It says you're still in motion, still evolving. Heavy hair, on the other hand, says, I've stopped. Not because you have, but because that's how it looks. So here's what I suggest. Take a moment and ask yourself, are you styling your hair out of habit or intention? Are you holding on to the past? Or are you ready to let your hair reflect who you are now? You don't have to cut it all off. You don't have to do anything drastic. But maybe, just maybe, it's time to let go of a little weight on your head and off your shoulders. Sometimes, the smallest shift in shape can lead to the biggest shift in how you feel. 4. No bangs when your face lacks its frame. Now let's talk about something so simple, so often overlooked, and yet so powerful. It can literally reshape the way people see you. I'm talking about bangs, or more specifically, the lack of them. For a lot of women over 60, bangs feel like a thing of the past. Maybe you had them when you were younger and thought, that was cute back then, but I'm too grown up for that now. Or maybe you think bangs are too trendy, too much maintenance, or just not flattering anymore. But here's the thing. Bangs aren't about looking younger. They're about balance. They're about framing the most expressive part of your face, your eyes, your smile, your energy. And when you leave your forehead completely exposed, especially as skin changes with age, you might be unintentionally drawing attention to the wrong areas. Let's be honest. As we get older, our foreheads change. Lines appear, hairlines shift, and an open forehead, while elegant on some, can sometimes feel too stark, especially if your hair is already flat or lacks volume. What ends up happening is the top third of your face becomes the focal point, pulling attention away from your eyes and smile, the places where your warmth really shines. Now, imagine this. You add just a soft, side-swept fringe. Suddenly, your eyes look more awake. Your cheekbones have more definition. The entire upper part of your face feels softer and more approachable. You've just restored proportion without touching a drop of makeup. And the great news? Today's bangs aren't like the heavy, boxy styles from the past. We're talking about soft curtain bangs, wispy layers, or feathered side fringes that grow out beautifully and require minimal upkeep. They're not meant to hide your forehead. They're there to enhance your features and bring focus back to the center of your face. And here's a little test you can try right now. Grab a comb or a makeup brush and gently hold it across your forehead, where bangs would naturally fall. Now look in the mirror. Does your face look more balanced? Do your eyes stand out a little more? Do those deep expression lines seem a little less noticeable? If you said yes, bangs might just be your new best friend. And for those who wear glasses, don't worry. Soft, side-swept bangs work beautifully with frames. They add texture and movement without creating visual clutter. In fact, they often enhance the frame of your glasses, giving your whole look more structure and sophistication. Most importantly, adding bangs is one of the easiest, least risky ways to refresh your hairstyle. You're not changing your entire look. You're just shifting the spotlight, redirecting attention to your most expressive features. And in doing so, giving yourself a new sense of presence. So if you've been avoiding bangs because you think they're too youthful or too trendy, I challenge you to reconsider. Because the right fringe, styled the right way, doesn't make you look younger. It makes you look more like you. Fully, beautifully, unapologetically you. 5. Too short, too flat. When convenience steals your spark. Let's wrap up with one of the most common and most misunderstood hairstyle choices, the super short, tight to the head cut. Now listen, I'm not here to shame short hair. In fact, a well-done short style can be incredibly flattering. But there's a fine line between chic and powerful and flat and forgotten. Here's what I've seen time and time again. Women step into retirement, stop coloring, or hit a major birthday milestone, and they decide, that's it, I'm chopping it all off. It feels liberating at first. Less maintenance, less fuss, and sometimes it works beautifully, but sometimes not so much. The trouble begins when that shortcut hugs the scalp too tightly, has no volume, no layers, no movement. At first it might feel simple, but over time it can start to feel more like a uniform, a habit, a haircut you've just accepted rather than chosen. And that's where the real problem lies. When hair sits flat against your head with no softness or structure, it exposes everything. Your forehead, your jawline, your neck, and not always in the most flattering way. It emphasizes angles, elongates the face, and can make you look sharper, more severe, even invisible in some social settings. Yes, invisible. Because as soft energy fades from your appearance, people may unconsciously respond to you differently, and worse, you might start seeing yourself differently too. But here's the truth. Short hair doesn't have to mean shapeless hair. The secret is structure. Think soft layers, a bit of volume at the crown, light bangs or face-framing pieces, even a touch of asymmetry. These subtle details add life, movement, and personality, without sacrificing the convenience you're after. Take the airy pixie, the textured bob, or the modern crop with volume up top and softness around the ears. These are short styles with soul. They say, I'm vibrant, I'm expressive, I'm still showing up fully. And best of all, they grow out beautifully. And let's not forget, texture is your best friend. Even if your hair is naturally straight, adding a bit of wave or tousle makes it feel more alive. Texture lifts. Flat hair compresses. Texture adds energy. Flatness dulls it. So if you've had the same super short, tight haircut for years, ask yourself, does this reflect who I am today? Or is it just something I'm used to? Because you deserve a style that grows with you, not one that keeps you stuck. Your hair doesn't have to be long to make a statement. It just has to be yours, intentionally chosen, lovingly styled, and full of the same energy you carry in your voice, your smile, your presence. So before you settle for easy, pause and ask, is this really me? You might be surprised by how good it feels to say yes to a little shape, a little lift, a little spark. So now we've walked through the 5 most common hairstyle habits that might be holding you back. Dry, dull texture, overly dark color, heavy, shapeless length, avoiding bangs, and cuts that are just too short and too flat. And here's the big takeaway. None of these things are about age. They're about alignment, about whether your outer appearance still matches the vibrant, evolving woman you've become inside. This isn't about chasing youth. It's about honoring vitality. Because let's be honest, you're not the same woman you were 20 years ago. You've grown, you've learned, you've lived, and your hair has the power to reflect that growth or to resist it. And that's the thing about hair. It's more than just strands. It's a frame for your face, a signal of your energy, a reminder every time you look in the mirror that you still care. Not because of vanity, but because of self-respect. For me personally, making peace with change, whether it was softening my color or saying yes to the bangs I swore off years ago, wasn't about trying to look younger. It was about showing up for myself, choosing to see the woman I am now, not just the version that was convenient or familiar. So if you saw yourself in any part of this video, take that as a beautiful sign. A sign that you're ready, not to do something drastic, but to make one small, intentional shift. A new layer, a lighter tone, a bit of shine, a thoughtful fringe. And suddenly, people aren't asking if you're tired anymore. They're asking, what's your secret? Here's my hope for you, that your reflection catches up with your spirit, that you step into this chapter not with hesitation, but with intention, that you see beauty not as a goal, but as a natural extension of the light you already carry. And if today's message stirred something in you, even a little, I'd love to hear your story. What's the hairstyle you've held on to? What's the shift you're thinking about making? Leave a comment below. Because here, we're not just talking about hair, we're rewriting the story of aging, one confident woman at a time. Until next time, stay bold, stay curious, and above all, stay true to you.